All right, let's talk a little bit about Halloween Ends, and everybody is talking about the um, the Halloween Ends trailer. You know, that's what we're all. When's it going to drop? When are they going to release it? I've been saying that we're probably going to get a first look. I would think maybe before even the trailer, but so far not a peep, nothing really. But in the last week, you might have seen there's been some social media buzz about a potential date that maybe it was confirmed, maybe it wasn't. So I just want to talk about that for just a second here, as our first thing for Halloween ends. Um, and you might have seen something about this. Let me see if I can pull it up over here. What happened was, well, first of all, we're going to be talking about this in a minute anyway. The Printed in Blood, they've released their new art book, and we're going to be taking a little look at some of the artwork inside of that here later on in tonight's broadcast. But they are shipping now. They're shipping these books. They announced it 2 years ago actually, and it's been a long time in the making and a long time coming, and it's finally happening. So there's been all this buzz about the trailer and when the trailer would be released. And Trancas producer of Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, Ryan Freeman, took to Instagram a few days ago to show off his copy of the new Halloween art book on Instagram. And you can see here that beautiful cover, the awesome slipcase. Um, this book is a true collector's item, and from what I'm seeing of the artwork inside, it looks really beautiful. So Ryan Freeman 3 days ago shares this Instagram post. Difficult decisions had to be made. He's talking about um, the artwork. You know, it's got over 200 selections in there, but they got presumably so many more, probably hundreds more. But there's some really beautiful stuff in there for sure, all paying homage to the original 1978 John Carpenter Halloween. So inevitably, somebody in the comments asked about the trailer. And this is asked by LinkedIn 646. And he says, quote, there's a dude on Facebook saying the Ends trailer is going to drop June 23rd. Is there any accuracy at all, end quote. And you can see here Ryan Freeman responded with the words, sounds legit. And before we get excited about that, I mean, I don't take this as confirmation by any means. I take it as Ryan Freeman probably having some fun with this. That hey, there's a dude on Facebook, and he's saying, yeah, that sounds real legit. But all that being said, I've said here before to you guys that date. I've said that if I was going to bet money on a date when they're going to drop the HN's trailer, it would probably be right before Blumhouse and Universal's release of The Black Phone, which is releasing officially in theaters on June 24th. And I've even said the date if I had to pick one day, let's just say June 23rd. So I know I'm not the only one that has made that educated guess, and that's all it really is. I don't have any inside info. I don't have a scoop on that. That's just some educated guessing based on most movies drop a trailer roughly 3 months before release. This would be a little bit ahead of that, about 3.5 months or so. But as I've talked about on here before, the 2018 trailer was dropped the first week of June in 2018. The Kills trailer was dropped the last week in June last year. It was going to be released actually on July 1st. Officially, I think was the plan. We'll never know for sure exactly what rollout they had because they had to release it about a week early, but it was leaked, if you'll remember last year. But that still happened in late June. So around mid to late June seems like the right time to start ramping up the marketing for this film and to drop a trailer right before that's going to run right before another horror movie that's going to attract similar audiences and is produced by the same producing team of Blumhouse and of course distributed by Universal. So, do I think that's confirmation that it's definitely happening on that day? No, I think it's Ryan Freeman probably just having a little bit of fun, but I also don't think it's necessarily discounting that date either. What we do know is that Universal handles the marketing. Um, you remember last year, a lot of people were pressuring Jason Blum about the trailer. He even tweeted out, "Look, I have no say in this. It's whatever Universal wants to do." And this is not news to us. We've known this just following the marketing of all these films over the years. They're going to make the final call when the trailer drops, but it's very possible that it could be that day. Despite that, I wouldn't take that as confirmation, but if you want to take it as just a tiny bit more indication that it's probably going to be around that time, sure. Um, I would say take it that way. And as far as the dude on Facebook saying that the Ends trailer is going to drop on June 23rd, I don't know. Maybe that dude heard me say it, and that's where they're getting their information from, because I did say that on one of these lives at one point, I believe. But in any case, if it's not that date, it's going to be coming sometime around there, I would guess, just based on everything else that Universal has done regarding this franchise in these last two films. And of course, knowing that the HK marketing is everything was in 2020 and 2021, very, very compromised to say the least with events of the world. But, so there you go. You guys will chime in and let me know your thoughts on this. Do you agree with me that Ryan Freeman's more or less being a bit sarcastic here and having fun with LinkedIn 646? But then again, he I don't think he's necessarily lying. I think he's kind of being funny, but maybe it does sound legit, like about the right time that a Universal Pictures might drop a Halloween Ends trailer around that time. In any case, I still expect some kind of first look image, if not a poster, to be released before a trailer, and pretty much any day now, honestly. But you guys let me know what you think. We do have one other little Halloween Ends item that I want to bring to your attention. We do know now that there is definitely a Halloween Ends novelization coming. The guys over at We Watched a Movie, they tweeted to the author, Tim Wagoner, who wrote the Halloween Kills novelization. And this was just a few days ago here on Twitter. You can see Tim made a post about some pizza, and the guys that We Watched a Movie responded to him and took the opportunity to ask him any word on if you're doing the Halloween Ends novelization. And Mr. Wagner responded to them and gave them an answer. He says, quote, "The filmmakers told Titan they wanted two other writers to do the novelization, so Titan had to go with them. I don't know who they are." So there we go from the man himself. Tim Wagoner, of course, wrote the novelization for Halloween Kills. John Passarella adapted the Halloween 2018 script into novelization form. Now, I've got both of them. I'm still working on reading my HK. I told you I was a slow reader. I've got them both. And of course, I'm going to get HNs. I love that they're releasing the novelizations of these films. First of all, let's just talk about how amazingly awesome that is, because that's kind of a lost art in a lot of ways. You know, it used to be a big thing. The first four Halloween films all had official novelizations released right around the time of their theatrical release. And so it's a nice kind of vintage, warm throwback that Blumhouse and Universal are making it happen for these most recent films and the new one. Now, the fact that it's going to be a different writer, it's not hugely surprising considering they changed writers from the first two books. I don't know why. Whatever that decision. What's interesting to me, though, is Tim's response that the filmmakers wanted two other writers for the new book. That's a little interesting to me, because the filmmakers wanting this makes me feel like, so David Gordon Green and his team want to maybe choose the writers. And if that's the case, I'm wondering if it might be two of the co-writers of the Halloween Ends script. I'm talking about Chris Bernier and Paul Brad Logan, who co-wrote Halloween Ends with David Gordon Green. They are both new to this franchise. They did not work on Halloween Kills or Halloween 2018. And the only reason it just sprang to mind that it might be the two of them is because they specifically, Tim Wagner in that tweet response, um, he specifically says that the filmmakers wanted two other writers. So just interesting to me that the filmmakers kind of wanted to pick the writer this time, and and that there's two of them. So maybe it's these two guys. Maybe they want this novelization to be even more reflective of the actual film than the first two, maybe. I'm taking notes on the HK novelization of all the little differences in the places where Tim Wagner kind of was able to go a little bit further on the scene, in certain scenes and sequences than the film does. Give us a little more background on some things. It's all very interesting, and that's a whole other conversation we could have another night. As far as the actual how much canon is a novelization of a film, when it does have some slight differences sometimes, and sometimes some extra things, sometimes just some alternate things. That's a whole other conversation we could have another time. You guys can kind of talk about it amongst yourselves down there. But I did find that interesting, and I appreciate Tim and we watched the movie, those guys for getting that answer from him, and just cluing us in that there is another novelization coming, which shouldn't be a surprise. I'd be highly disappointed if they didn't, and I just love that they're doing that. Again, just as kind of a throwback to the first four movies, which were all received novelizations, and many of the films of that era, the 70s and 80s, did. So I love that, and I also love kind of the Easter eggs in them when you read them, and kind of the differences and exploring all that. It's more of this universe. I can never get too much, um, but I am curious who these two writers are, and very curious if it might be the same two guys that worked with David Gordon Green on the script for HNs. In which case, that would make a lot of sense and would explain why maybe they want that. Maybe some of these differences they want to kind of control and know that, okay, if it's going to be in there and it's not in the film, it's something that we definitely approve of, so to speak. So there's that. But you guys can let me know what you think about that.